puffy. It is about a bit of a drizzly, cozy day in Portland. Hello, welcome back to my channel. My name is Gretchen and I moved. Yay! If you saw my last video, I'd already announced that I was moving out of the house that I'd been living in for about 8 years, and I filmed that like a week before the actual move, and that talked a bit about why I was moving, the planning, and what had to have changed because we are now in shelter in place in COVID-19 and the whole pandemic. So if you're interested in kind of the planning process, the downsizing process, and kind of adapting all those things for a global pandemic, check that video out. I will link it below. Today I wanted to talk about how the move went and show you my new place. So I am actually really happy with how the move went. I think this was my smoothest move that I've ever had, which was amazing because it's also probably the biggest move I've ever done. And I'm including moving continents, because when I moved to China and I moved back from China, that really wasn't that big of an ordeal because everything was packed into suitcases, and all of my furniture and a bunch of things like that I actually got to leave in my old house because I was coming back to that space. So my roommates just continued to use my furniture and things, and I just didn't have to like do the same amount of sorting and packing as I did for this. I did a chunk, but not quite the same. So this was probably my biggest move because I'd lived in this 4-bedroom house for 8 years, and I just had so much stuff because we'd had my giant bedroom that was full of things. It had my office space, kind of a little living space, and my bedroom space in it, and I definitely wasn't going to be able to do that in my current room, so I knew that I needed to downsize stuff from that. We had just the most enormous living room in the old place, so we had more furniture. The dining room was huge, so all the furniture in there was gonna be way too big for this one. And we had a kitchen that was shared with 4 people. So we had so much stuff in the kitchen that we just weren't going to need to move with us. So the downsizing, we did really well, actually. And I talked a lot about some of those goals in my last video as well. One of those goals that I had was to not move anything into the new space that when I unpacked, I was gonna be like, oh, why did I move this? I don't need this. Or why do I even own this? And I almost managed to do that. I came really close. I had a couple of minor small things that ended up moved over that as I was unpacking and sorting, I was just like, I don't need this. And mostly it was, we ended up with some pot lids that didn't go to any of our current pots, so didn't need those. And I had just the most insane amount of kitchen towels because in our old place we would go through so many kitchen towels just like for hands and drying and all this stuff, and we just don't need that mass amount. So all the ones that I had that were really old and getting dingy, I got rid of. And I had one piece of furniture that I moved into here that I ended up not really needing. It was nice to have, it was my old nightstand. And it was kind of nice to have because the nightstand I currently use is also a stool, and it just works well for me and it fits in my space well, but I needed the stool for unpacking so I could get into high places because I'm not that tall. So I had my other nightstand set up temporarily, and then after I got everything unpacked and I wasn't going to need a stool very much, I sold that one and started using my stool again as my nightstand. Okay, so that went pretty smooth. Having the movers was a dream, and it made everything go so much smoother than it would have if we didn't have movers. And I'm so thankful that my roommate, my current roommate and friend, had suggested it. She'd actually used these movers before, so we kind of had them already pre-vetted. and it wasn't really too expensive for the amount of work that they do, but they were just so much better at packing everything into the van and unloading everything and making sure that stuff was secure in the van. So like moving my big antique furniture, like this piece behind me, it went so much more smooth because we had the movers. And we tried to keep it as safe as possible with them. So they wore masks and gloves, we wore masks, we kept as much of a distance as we could. So we took precautions because of COVID-19, but you know, and obviously it would have been a little bit easier if we weren't in the middle of a pandemic, but in general, it still went really smooth. So the actual move itself went smooth. It took me about 3 full days or so to actually unpack and sort and get rid of all the boxes and do all that stuff. So now that the place is totally unpacked, I'm really, really happy with it. I was happy with it the first night, actually, like waking up in the new place, because I had my room was pretty much a mess, but my bed and everything was set up. And just waking up in the new space was really exciting. Going to bed for the last time in the old space was actually really sad. It was really sad for some reason. I think just because I'd lived there for so long, and it just felt weird that was gonna be my very last night. It felt weird that I was never gonna be going back there again. But now that I'm in the new space, I love the new space. I did take some footage from the actual moving, so I will insert that here. Good morning. It's 6 a.m. on moving day. I just woke up. I have a couple of things I need to do before the movers get here, but I thought I would just show you a bit of what my life looks like at the moment. So this is what my room looks like, packing up the last things that I'm using. But, oof. All the closets are empty, everything's in boxes, everything's taken down. These sheets are gonna get thrown into the wash very quickly, and hopefully done before we pack them, but yeah. Doing it. Mercedes drove the truck. We're very proud of her. And now that I am settled in the place, my cat is doing much better in the place. The first night she was definitely hiding under furniture, which is to be expected. It's her very first time ever moving, and that's just pretty normal for a cat during a move type situation. But now she's exploring a lot, and she seems to be acting much more of her normal self and seems to be happy in this space. I really love the space. It's this old vintage 1940s building that just really kind of fits my personal aesthetic really well. I love these kind of older vintage buildings, and unlike when I've lived in other old buildings, this one has all like new modern windows, which is amazing. So I have a little tour of the apartment before we moved anything in that I'll insert here. And this is some shots of it now with the furniture all set up. in general, I'm feeling really happy with how everything is set up. The bookshelf that I used to have in my room, we are using in the dining room for all of our plates and dishes and glassware and things like that, big serving bowls and stuff. And I really love the look of having that open storage. And I was originally planning on buying different shelving eventually for that. But now that I have everything organized in that particular shelf, I kind of like that shelf for it. So I'm not sure if I will replace it. I will probably get some sort of a bookshelf for my room because I don't have any of my books unpacked yet. All of my books are in boxes in the storage unit that we have with the apartment because I use my bookshelf for that. So I don't have anywhere to unpack them yet. So later when I get the rest of the like bits and bobs and things and pieces of furniture that I need and completely unpacked and don't have my books in storage, I will do another little tour and I'll do some content about decorating a small space, organizing in a small space, and things like that. Yeah, but overall, I'm very, very happy with it. And that's pretty much my thoughts. Yeah, it was kind of sad. It was bittersweet to say goodbye to the old place because I'd lived there for so long, but I am so excited and so love this new place that, yeah, now that I'm here, it's really good. It's really nice. Okay, if you like this video, go ahead and give it a thumbs up, hit subscribe. I'm going to be doing a lot more content as things go on, especially now that I am working from home again full-time and can. So hit the subscribe if you're not, and thank you so much for watching. I'll see you next time. Bye!